All systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What is going on, everyone? Rio here. Going to be talking about this 8-game slate Wednesday. Pretty gross slate, but this is what the NBA has given us at this point in the season. We got a bunch of injury news, a lot of teams tanking. So I'll do my best with the information that we have right now, but I expect a lot of stuff to change throughout the day as we get more news closer to lock. So definitely got to be around then and be able to dissect that news a little bit better. Just want to say thank you to everybody that reached out last night for the, obviously took down the big fadeaway last night for 50K. So appreciate everybody reaching out. Definitely been, grind the season, been close a couple times. It was nice to finally get that under my belt, especially after the big weekend over in Arizona, finishing 14th at the live final. But yeah, just want to say thank you to everybody. Really appreciate you guys sticking around with us for the first season of NBA. Hopefully we could provide you guys with some good information for the rest of the season. Only got a couple more weeks left. But let's get right into it. First game on the slate. Got the Lakers taking on the Wizards. Lakers favored by 13 points right now. Should expect a pretty full, healthy team from the Lakers tonight. Darwin Ham said these guys are going to be good to go, referring to LeBron James, Anthony Davis. The Wizards side of things, a little bit bigger of an injury report. Got Kuzma questionable, Rashawn Holmes questionable as well. Going to be out without Tyus Jones and without Marvin Bagley tonight. Johnny Davis, I believe, was listed questionable as well. It doesn't really change too much, but that's another rotation piece that could be out. But I mean, if Holmes misses here, we saw Anthony Gill get the start last night for Kuzma. But if Holmes misses, could be Gill again, or even this Tristan Vukovic guy. I don't know too much about him, but I do know that he played really well last game, filling in for Bagley when he got ruled out, put up almost 30 DraftKings points in 31 minutes. I think he got the start in the second half as well. But looks to be a pretty talented guy. Looks like he got some shot-making ability to him. Definitely would be a tougher matchup going against Anthony Davis, who, is pretty good at drawing fouls, but he's min-priced, so if he's starting, I think that he's probably one of the best values on the slate. But the spend-up options on the Wizards side, I mean, pretty tough to go there tonight. The Lakers have been pretty solid defensively in the second half of the season, a little bit better in the last month or so, but they still have their issues. They're one of the worst teams against point guards, so I think that Jordan Poole, very firmly in play, even at 7.3K. I mean, he's playing really well right now. The ball handling role has been really good. Assist numbers have been good. Got double-digit assists twice in the last 6 games. 13 last game, but in the 40s pretty consistently. So I think that he's a really strong option going against this Lakers team that we love to attack with opposing guards. Denny's price tag is getting up there. He's been really good this season. But yeah, I mean, almost 8K, pretty tough for me to get there with just small forward eligibility, especially if Kuzma's back. Definitely would take some upside off of him. I think Corey Kispert is a pretty solid option. I really like to attack Kispert or fire him up against teams that give up a lot of three-pointers, a lot of catch-and-shoot stuff, which is definitely an area of weakness for the Lakers. So he'd be really strong at 5.9K with the team looking pretty thin. That's pretty much it, though, on the Washington side of things. On the Lakers side of things, it's really just LeBron or AD. I'm going to be a max one of those guys. I think that the matchup's really good for both of them. Obviously, the Wizards, terrible with their interior defense, but I'd probably just be a max one because I don't really want to invest too much into this game, knowing that it's probably very likely to blow out. But I think that both AD and LeBron are very strong options tonight. Next game, Portland versus Charlotte. I think this is probably the most important game on the slate. Going to have a ton of value on both sides of things. Both sides of this game. The Charlotte Hornets will be without Miles Bridges, without Nick Richards. Give me a second. Let me pull up the injury report real quick so I have more accurate news. Charlotte will be without obviously LaMelo Ball, all the guys that have been missing, Seth Curry, Cody Martin. But yeah, Mitric is out. Miles Bridges doubtful, but he's most likely to be out. Mark Williams obviously out. Nick Richards is out. And then Grant Williams was questionable, but got upgraded to probable, so expect him to be back tonight. Yeah, I mean, this is a really tough situation to get away from. I think that Brandon Miller don't really have a large sample size to go off of, but I think we can expect a very, very large ball handling role, very large usage rate, a lot of shot attempts from him tonight. Really good matchup. Blazers are terrible defensively. I think that he's really, really a strong play at 6.8K. I think he's got a ton of upside. I do prefer the spend downs, though, just because I think that they've got maybe not similar upsides, but probably better point per dollar production when you think about it. I mean, Trey Mann's only 5.5K. He's been really good this season with Charlotte. I mean, hasn't really done much lately, but that's because Mitric has taken away a lot of ball handling from him. But he's shown multi-category upside at times, been kind of flirting with a triple-double a couple times since coming over to Charlotte. I think he's going to have a really strong role tonight and really good matchup. Grant Williams, probably the one I'm the least excited about at the current price tag, but the rebounding rate should be pretty good, taking a lot double-digit shot attempts in the last 4 games. Probably going to play around mid-30s minutes, something like that. He's probably my least favorite value on that team, though. I prefer Poku at 3.9K, who has been a very consistent fantasy point per minute producer when he's given the minutes, dating back to his time with OKC. I think he has got a chance to start tonight, and I think that he'd be probably the best value on the slate, in my opinion, at 3.9K. Bertans, I mean, yeah, he's probably going to play a good bit. I don't really like Bertans in these types of matchups. The Blazers, as bad as they are defensively, one of the better teams against three-point shooters, which, I mean, he's getting pretty much all of his shot attempts from three. When you look in his last 4 games, 6 shot attempts against Boston, 5 of those were from deep, 5 of 9 against the Clippers. 9 of those shots were from deep. 7 shots against the Warriors, or 8 shots against the Warriors. 7 from deep. 6 against Cleveland. All were from 3-point range. So he's going to be shooting the ball, just running around 3-point line trying to get open. So I don't really love him. I would much rather. I think that Poku, Trey Mann, and Miller are the 3 top options for me. On Portland side of things, yeah, they're going to be thin again. Obviously, no Jeremy Grant, no Anthony Simon. So we'll see, big roles from Banton and Scoot Henderson. Definitely prefer Banton at 6.9K. I don't really care if he's coming off the bench. I don't care that the price tag's up there. He's just been crushing lately. 3 games out of his last 4 over 50 DraftKings points. So I think that he's definitely a guy I'm looking to mostly on the Blazers side of things. And I'm probably going to be max 1 Scoot and Banton at these price tags. And then Ayton, if he does play, I think there's a chance that he could sit just because this team is trying to tank right now. But if he plays, this is one of the best matchups against the Hornets, who are bottom 5 in DVP versus center, so he'd be a great option. Same goes for Jabari Walker, 4.9K. He's playing a ton of minutes. Always been a solid fantasy point per minute guy when he's given the minutes, and he got to 40 last game against Orlando. I think we'll see something similar tonight, and he's a very strong value. So, yeah, this is a great game to attack. Definitely one you're going to want to have pieces from both sides. Next game, OKC versus Boston. OKC going to be without SGA and Jalen Williams tonight, so we'll see very similar thing to last night what we saw with Jalen Williams getting the start. I'm not sure they'll go there again here just because I think that they were mirroring his minutes pretty much exactly with Joel Embiid. So I don't think that they really need to do that tonight with Boston not really having those types of centers. They got, Porzingis and Horford, which you don't really need a guy like Jalen Williams shadowing those guys. So I think that there's a chance it's probably Gordon Hayward or Aaron Wiggins starting, or even Isaiah Joe. One of these guys could probably sneak in there. But yeah, I mean, Chet and Giddey, even at these price tags, I think they're totally fine to go to again here. These guys have really strong roles, really good usage rates with Jalen Williams and SG off the court. Chet is averaging just under 50 DK points per 36 minutes with those guys off the court this season. And Giddey's around 45 DK points per 36 with a 26% usage rate. Got triple-double upside. I mean, I still think that he has upside at this price tag, but more so a large field GPP play than anything. Don't think this is the same situation as last night where you're locking them in single entry tournaments. Just because the matchup's a little bit tougher. And then, yeah, I'm going to be a max 2 of Wallace, Joe, Hayward, Wiggins tonight. Maybe even throw Jalen Williams and Kenrich Williams in there. But yeah, I prefer Isaiah Joe and Aaron Wiggins. I think at these price tags, I think they have better upside. The Celtics been a little bit worse against 3-point shooters at times this season, so those guys are the ones I'm looking to. On the Boston side of things, yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna make any of these guys a priority. I think that Tatum and 9.8K is a very fine spend up option. But with the team being fully healthy, don't think that he's going to be needed out there for upper 40 or upper 30s minutes. Don't think he's going to need to be pushed as much from ball handling role, from usage role. So I think that he's just fine, and I probably would look elsewhere to spend my money. Next game, Detroit versus Atlanta. We could definitely see some funky injury stuff with the Detroit side of things. Detroit is going to want to tank for better draft positioning, so wouldn't be surprised to see Cade get shut down at some point in the season. But if he does play, I think that he's a very good option. 8.6K, been playing really good lately. 57, 58.5 DK points in his last 2 games, taking 22, 33, and 23 shot attempts in his last 3 games. Matchup's pretty good. Don't worry about it too much against DeJounte Murray, who has not been the same defender as seasons prior. But I mean, this Atlanta team kind of gone back to being a very shitty defense. They're giving it up all over the court, giving up threes, giving up interior scoring, pick and roll scoring. So Cade looks like a really, really good option, 8.6K with a ton of upside. Outside of that, I'm not really considering these secondary guys unless we get more injury news. But like Durant at 7.2K is fine. Matchup is okay, but I think there's better options. On the Atlanta side of things, I think DeJounte is probably my top spin up on the slate tonight. Pistons been one of the worst teams against point guards this season. They're bottom 4 pick and roll defense this season, bottom 10 DVP versus point guards. They're dead last in pick and roll men situations. So DeJounte's got that triple-double upside here, I think. Hawks still looking to improve their, playoff positioning, if you will. But I think they're pretty locked into like that 9-10 seed. So maybe if they just want to get to like the 9th spot. But yeah, I think that DeJounte's a really solid spend up at 10K or 9.9K. So yeah, he looks really good tonight. And then the only one I'm really considering on the Hawks is Clint Capella at 6.3K. One of the best spots for opposing centers. Pistons being bottom 4 in DVP versus centers, and dead last in pick and roll man situation. So he looks like a really strong option, 6.3K. Next game, Indy versus Brooklyn. This is a rematch of a game earlier this week. We saw Tyrese Halliburton torch this team for 57 DK points in 27 minutes. He kind of looks like he's getting back into that early in-season tournament form. So he, might be a little underpriced and overlooked in this range at 9.2K. Is only, I'm seeing like sub 5% ownership on him. Games projected to stay pretty close to, with Indy favored by 8.5. So yeah, I mean, I really like Tyrese to spin up again tonight, especially if nobody's going to go there. I think Siakam is just fine. Nets been a little bit worse with their interior defense over the past month or so, but 8.4K would much rather just find the money, get to Tyrese. The net side things, not too exciting. I think that Cam Thomas is still in play at 7.7K. This is one of the better spots for opposing guards, as the Pacers are dead last in points per game allowed to pick and roll ball handlers. We've seen Cam Thomas lead the team in usage since he's returned from injury. So he looks like a fine option. Still got some upside at this price tag. Not getting there on McHale. I'm not really getting there on Claxton. I think that Watford is still in play as a value at 4.4K. They look like they just want to continue to give this guy a run. He's seen 21, 19, 24, 29, and 34 minutes in his last 5 games. So, yeah, I think that he's definitely still in play as a value option. Next game, Orlando versus New Orleans. This is a game I'm not too excited about. Pretty much a full X out on the Orlando side of things. I think that the only one you're really considering is Paolo at 8.5K. But, man, I mean, this team's fully healthy. Doesn't really have the same ball handling role usage is coming down a little bit. I think he's still got upside at 8.5K, but I don't think I'm going to go there in a tougher matchup against the Pelicans, who are very sound defensively. And then on the Pelican side of things, it's really just Zion for me at 8.9K. Role has been really strong for him. He's playing a ton of minutes right now. Don't worry too much about this matchup because the Magic, who we thought of as a very strong interior defense earlier this season, they've kind of slipped a little bit in the second half. So I'm not too worried about the scoring for him. He's been super aggressive lately. He's got double-digit free throw attempts in 3 of his last 6 games. In every game in his last 5 games. And the assist numbers look good. Minutes are up. So, yeah, he looks like a really strong option. probably one of the better spend ups behind DeJounte Murray. I think he's second on the list for me. Next game, we got Toronto taking on the Timberwolves. Toronto just came out with some more injury news. We got Kelly Olynyk out. We already know that RJ Barrett's going to be out. Bruce Brown is doubtful, but expecting to be out as well. So this team's going to be pretty thin. I don't think that the value on the Toronto side of things is nearly as good as the Charlotte or Portland side, or even Washington if we get that news. Yeah, I mean they have enough bodies to throw out there. Quickly still back, so that takes away a lot of usage. Expect Gary Trent Jr. to be back as well, so he it takes away a lot of shot attempts. So I don't think that you're really running to play any of these guys, but I mean with Olynyk out, it's probably going to be Mohamed Gueye, and he's min price, so you're definitely considering him. I think that if Holmes is out, I would prefer Vucevic, but yeah, I mean it might be a double spend down center option tonight. The thing is, we just don't really have a ton of spend ups tonight. It's not like last night where we had Giannis, we had Jokic, we had Wemby. It's really just Giannis as a spend up, and then a couple guys in the 9Ks, I guess, if you want to consider LeBron and AD, but they're pretty cheap, and we have enough value to get to those guys pretty easily. So I don't think that you're really going out of your way to get to this Gueye guy who's going to be going against Timberwolves, who I think are the best defense in the league. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on the Toronto side of things. On the Minnesota side, they're going to be without Mike Conley tonight, obviously still without Karl-Anthony Towns. Really, everybody from Alexander Walker up is in play tonight. Obviously, Ant been playing pretty bad lately, hasn't made a 3-point attempt in 3 straight games, but I mean, I think that there's pretty much no better matchup tonight or in the league right now than one against Toronto. They've just been terrible in the second half of the season defensively after getting rid of all their guys. So I think this could be a get-right spot for Ant. Don't think that he's going to be needed for his full rotation with this, Minnesota favored by double digits here. But he should be able to have a ton of success for the minutes that he is out there. So I like him at 9.4K. Gobert looks like a really good option tonight as well. This Raptors team really getting killed on the board. So I could definitely see like a 15-15 or 20-20 game from him. So he looks like a good option, 7.7K. Nas has been really good as a starter for the Wolves this season, averaging right around 37 DK points. Yeah, he's got a ton of upside. Nothing to say there. I think Carl Anderson looks like a really good option, 5.1K. And then Alexander Walker, I think that he'll get the start. He's just normally a low usage guy, so I don't know if I want to get there, but I think that he could have success in this one, obviously against Toronto, who's just terrible everywhere. But he could be one of those games where we see him get a couple steals, a couple blocks versus a team that's pretty turnover prone. But I don't think that he is much better than some of the other value slates or some of the other values on the slate. Next game and last game on the slate, Memphis versus Milwaukee. Another game don't really want to invest too much into, mainly on the Memphis side of things. I think that the guys you're considering are Jaren Jackson Jr., probably Luke Kennard, and Brandon Clark. Jaren has had a really good role this season with the team being thin, and Desmond Bane's going to miss this game again. I think he posted like a 41% usage rate last game without Bane, so the role is going to be there for him. If you think that they can keep it close, then Jaren is definitely the guy that you want because he put up 62 last game against Detroit. Obviously a much easier matchup, but he definitely has the 40-point scoring upside in, I would say, pretty much every matchup just with the role that he's got. Yeah, I don't really think that these other guys are in play, though. I think Kennard is fine. Got the 3-point ability with Milwaukee kind of giving it up there as of late. And then, yeah, Clark is just okay. He's playing around 20 minutes a game. Always been really, really good fantasy guy. Yeah, so that's where I'm going at in this game. And then on the Milwaukee side of things, definitely Giannis or bust with no Middleton, with no Dame likely. I mean, he's going to have all the usage in the world and is probably the top spin up on the slate, definitely the most upside in the slate, but wouldn't be surprised if he gets downgraded throughout the day. Just this is a game they should have pretty easily. But yeah, I think you can consider all these secondary guys as well with Portis, Brook Lopez, Beasley, Connaughton, Jay Crowder. All those guys are in play. I think Portis is definitely the one that has the most upside from the secondary guys. That's going to do it. Thank you guys for sticking around. I'll see you guys on Friday. Later.